Hello, welcome to Bible Stories. This is Jonas.
And this is Jose.
And I'm Noelia.
And today we don't have as many people. We're still going to keep this going. We're going to start today on the story of Abraham and the free strangers based on Genesis chapter 18. So let's get ahead with the reading. Now the Lord appeared to him by the oaks of Mamre, this is appearing to Abram, while he was sitting at the tent door in the heat of the day. When he lifted up his eyes and looked, behold, 3 men were standing opposite him. And when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed himself to the earth, and said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in your sight, please do not pass your servant by. Please let a little water be brought and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will bring a piece of bread, that you may refresh yourselves. After that you may go on, since you have visited your servant. And they said, So do, as you have said. So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah, and said, Quickly, prepare 3 measures of fine flour, knead it, and make bread cakes. Abraham also ran to the herd and took a tender and choice calf and gave it to the servant, and he hurried to prepare it. He took curds and milk and the calf which he had prepared, and placed it before them. And he was sitting by them under the tree as they ate. Then they said to him, Where is Sarah your wife? And he said, There in the tent. He said, I will surely return to you at this time next year, and behold, Sarah your wife will have a son. And Sarah was listening at the tent door which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in age. Sarah was past childbearing. Sarah laughed to herself, saying, After I have become old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? She looks so funny like that. Verse 13, And the Lord said to Abraham, Why did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I indeed bear a child when I am so old? Is anything too difficult for the Lord? At the appointed time I will return to you. At this time next year, and Sarah will have a son. Sarah denied it, however, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. And he said, No, but you did laugh. Oh man, this is funny. Verse 16, Then the men rose up from there and looked down toward Sodom, and Abraham was walking with them to send them off. The Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do, since Abraham will surely become a great and mighty nation, and in him all the nations of the earth will be blessed. For I have chosen him so that he may command his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing righteousness and justice, so that the Lord may bring upon Abraham what he has spoken about him. And the Lord said, The outcry of Sodom and Gomorrah is indeed great, and their sin is exceedingly grave. I will go down now and see if they have done entirely according to its outcry, which has come to me, and if not, I will know. Then the men turned away from there and went toward Sodom, while Abraham was still standing before the Lord. Abraham came near and said, Will you indeed sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there are 50 righteous within the city. Will you indeed sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous who are in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous and the wicked are treated alike. Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth deal justly? So the Lord said, If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare the whole place on their account. And Abraham replied, Now, behold, I have ventured to speak to the Lord, although I am but dust and ashes. Suppose the 50 righteous are lacking 5. Will you destroy the whole city because of 5? And he said, I will not destroy it if I find 45 there. He spoke to him yet again and said, Suppose 40 are found there. And he said, I will not do it on account of the 40. Then he said, Oh, may the Lord not be angry, and I shall speak. Suppose 30 are found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, Now behold, I have ventured to speak to the Lord. Suppose 20 are found there? And he said, I will not destroy it on account of the 20. Then he said, Oh, may the Lord not be angry, and I shall speak only this once. Suppose 10 are found there. And he said, I will not destroy it on account of the 10. As soon as he had finished speaking to Abraham, the Lord departed, and Abraham returned to his place. Good thing he went quick, otherwise he would have kept asking for less and less. What about 9, 8, 7? Man, that's so funny. Well, anyway, that's the reading of Genesis chapter 18 about Abraham and the free strangers. What do we get from here, from this weird word story?
A promise.
Sure, a promise.
A promise to an elderly couple who are beyond the childbearing age.
Yeah, a promise among many. God is. This is clearly God, right? The Lord that has come with them among and thing to and the earth. There was another one that we looked over recently. It's gone over my head now, but then this is a new one about how you will indeed bear a child even in your old age. Mm-hmm. And still, with so many promises, he was asking, well, are you really going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah?
There's a very interesting thought there. Who was in Sodom?
Who was in Sodom?
His nephew Lot.
Really?
Yes, Lot was there. So he had an interest because Lot was there, and he's asking, for the Lord. And one thing, notice he's very reverent, righteous people.
Yeah. And well, this isn't the illustrations aren't directly from the Bible, right? But we can suppose that he was being reverent and bowing and so forth by the way that he was speaking. So for sure, but also he was a little bit foolish because just before we had seen how he had been manipulated by his wife to also bear a child in his maid, right? And we clearly see that. Sarah is her name, right? Sarah isn't of the best heart. She was laughing it off when God said,
and then she denied it.
And said, then she denied it, lying directly, which is so funny as well.
And it's interesting. I would like to really know what the Hebrew is, because in English it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
No, but you did.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, yes, you did, no, but you did laugh. That's what God's answer to prayer.
Mm-hmm. In the original text, it's probably a lot more understandable.
Another thing, there was 3 people.
Uh-huh.
So the last to stay there was Jesus, or the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that even then he was reincarnated to be able to eat physical food.
Yeah. How many times did God actually come down to earth as man and eat and drink with us?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was one. It's very interesting. You noted the reverence. It said that when it was just any people, any person traveling, you offer them food or water, and then not so much to wash their feet, but these ones, it was to watch it. They had sandals. The place was very sandy, so their feet were dirty, and so he offered, water for their feet, and he knew, Abraham knew that it was God, that it was either Jesus or God. I mean, this is the Lord.
Yeah.
So interesting that he gave him water. That was the first thing he did.
Well, what else are you going to give God?
Well, he also fed him.
Yeah, and fed him. Yep.
And it's interesting. I think it mentions that the Lord left towards Sodom.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord then left, and Abraham. No, it says, I don't know the scripture.
Le lavó los pies también.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying que cuando no era alguien muy importante, nomás le lavaban los pies, pero este les dio de comer.
Mm-hmm.
So ahora lo cambiaron así, tú y Víctor. Nomás van a hacerlo en inglés.
No.
No.
So ahorita.
Well, let's talk about it. Me and Victor decided that we would split it up into English and Spanish a while back. So we're doing one exclusively in English and one exclusively in Spanish, reading from the scripture in Spanish. And since last time we didn't have many Spanish-speaking people, we didn't do it in English. And since this time we don't have many people again.
Well, let me ask you, this is going to be broadcasted somewhere? Somebody else is going to be listening
It's
to
being
it?
broadcasted right now.
So then, well, then we should have...
We should.
It was too fast. For me, it was too fast.
Mm-hmm. Why don't...
So maybe what you need to do, mi amor, is take this and read what's next. Because for next time, we're going to do probably the next chapter.
Well, actually, we're usually when we get together, we do multiple in a session. So today we could even do the next one in Spanish and get this one in Spanish, and then after we do the Spanish version of this, go on to another one. So I think that's a good way to do it. Okay. But for right now, we can talk about this after we get done with the broadcast. But on Sodom and Gomorrah, an interesting thing about these three strangers, I read this a little bit with Sharon a while back, and she noted how there is one of those guys is most definitely God, the Lord, right? And the other two, well, we see, I believe in the beginning, it describes them as wearing white robes.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see here. So, no, it doesn't say here, but maybe in other passages it does. And certainly those guys were also most likely angels, right? Celestial beings who were with them. And when before Abraham started pleading with the Lord to spare the 50, spare the 45, he separated himself. So the two angels, supposedly, right, air quotes, we don't know exactly if they were angels or not. It's never explicitly told.
It was only one he's talking about. Or he's talking to the authority.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The one that could change the fate of the sun.
Yeah, but also, he had already decided. He already sent his two, maybe servants, his angels, over to Sodom.
Angels who were in Sodom.
We're gonna see that. We're still next time is Sodom, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. So we're gonna have a look at that and see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an interesting thing that certainly God already knew what was going to happen. Already knew that Abraham was going to plead for the 50, for the 40, and he had already sent the angels or his servants there to Sodom and Gomorrah with that intention.
Yeah. So they're the one that came to visit, because the factor time here is kind of, I mean, we don't know if the next day or the next hour or what. It doesn't say, just like jumps into there.
Yeah.
So, but being as it may, I think, God can do whatever He wants with time.
Sure.
Time will not exist for Him.
Mm-hmm.
And His angels. But it's really interesting that there was three people. When I read, the Lord visited him, and then it was three people. Okay, who are these other people? Who are these other two? Because obviously the one that he spoke to Abraham, he was the Lord. The one that told him about the promise. It's interesting.
Very interesting. So, I believe...
God came to visit. There's a book, a really nice book, and God came to visit.
And God came to visit. Cool. Maybe I'll give that a read.
Yeah. Forgot who the author is, but it was just really... It might even be Lucado. It's Lucado.
Hey, you let me know.
Yeah, let you know.
For right now, thank you all very much for listening in. This has been Bible Stories with Jonas, with Jose.